very much. Matters of trademarks are dealt with in the High Court. We went to the Electoral Court and challenged the deregistration of Umkhonto Wesizwe, and it was dismissed on the basis that, on technicality, that we did not oppose the matter at the inception of the registration of the party, a matter we intend to contest, but we chose not to. We could have appealed that decision, which in itself is appealable, but we chose not to, for political reasons. That one, it was going to say that we play into the gallery and we delay in the processes and all of that. In the best interest of democracy and all of that, we allowed that to pass. Trademark is a different case altogether. It's about legacy, which we will challenge to the highest court of the land. And there will be no retreat on that. I did explain to you when we were in Durban, when I had the line of questioning, I think the judge have chosen an easy way out and not address the matter at point that they were actually dealing with in terms of that particular court. He simply said that this matter does not belong here, it belongs to the Electoral Court, which was supposed to be there. That is something that is not a fact. It is a matter that we'll challenge in terms of the appeal. And we don't intend to argue with the judge otherwise, but to take the matter further in terms of the trademark issue that we're talking about. Because the judge was asking a question to our people to say that, to our legal team, to say that what's going to happen to the paraphernalia that is already there. If you fake Coca-Cola and then you are not the registered trademark and you go and produce a lot of Coca-Cola and you call it Cola Coke, like the Pakistanis will do here, and then who's the blame to be on in terms of the trademark issue? It is not on Coca-Cola. You've got to take the blame because you produced mass knowing very well that that product does not belong to you. Two, we are not comparing two logos, the ANC flag and MK. We are challenging the trademark that has been seceded to the ANC. It's ours. The judge does not compare the logos, does not address that issue. He addresses issues that were not ventilated in court. That's what he has done in terms of the judgment that he has given to you. Go and check. And those who are in court as well, go and check that. Instead, he agrees with our opponents that they made a cogent case about the fact that we wasted the time of court and the matter does not actually belong there. On the basis of that, punitive measures are actually granted to us. We will appeal all of those in terms of the court above. And we appreciate the fact that in the judgment, the issue that you are addressing, he has granted us the right to appeal. That's what he has done. So if you read the judgment and you understand, you say, are we going to appeal to the same court? We will decide, but he has granted us the right to already. Meaning, I no longer want to deal with this matter, go and see for yourself somewhere else. You know, I'm out of this, and so on. So the issue of the trademark and Umkhonto Wesizwe goes beyond an election to us. The issue of the election and Umkhonto party of Jacob Zuma contesting, we left that issue in Mangaung. Even though we believed that we still had a strong case, we left it there. So Jacob Zuma and his party are on the ballot. So the issue that we contesting Mr. Zuma, we cannot contest a party, a person who has made up his mind about where he wants to go to. He wants to form a party, he wants to bring the ANC below 50% for whatever political reasons. He has outlined that when he launched the party on the 16th of December. So we're very clear. How do you stand against a person who has made up his mind? Again, as the ANC, we have to deal with the question of a person who says, I'm a member of the ANC and at the same time I'm pursuing this. Those issues are before us. The ANC has not called a special meeting of the NEC to reconsider its own decision because Zuma now has registered the party. He has moved many steps since the time we suspended him. As an organization, he has moved many steps. He has formed a party, he's now a leader. When we suspended him, he was just a supporter, not even a leader. The leader was Kumar. Now he's a leader. And he has stood and is in the ballot against the ANC. And he campaigns, not de-campaign, he campaigned effectively against the ANC. So the ANC, when it convenes an urgent meeting and decide to expel Zuma, you are going to say we are promoting him. How do you promote something that lives out there and has made up its mind about why it exists? It exists on distortions. To an extent that those distortions become a fact and are celebrated by the people, you've got to correct them. And there are many of such. It's not a campaigning issue. It's an issue that you've got to, of course, tactically, on the ground, you've got a choice to entertain those or not to entertain that. And whether or not that makes an impact, it will be seen on the day of the outcome of the election. But the ANC machinery has not been swayed. I see you talk about a tsunami, I don't know where. Not you, but some other people, but I know what is a tsunami. COPE was big. UDM, when it started, it was big. You know, I'm talking about people who were expelled from the ANC and others who went to work. I have not seen MK where it then becomes a tsunami and all of that. There are many activities that were supposed to take place outside KwaZulu-Natal that have failed of this party, but you continue to characterize it as if it's a threat to the ANC and that we are challenging a threat and we are promoting it. You give Mr. Zuma an airtime, including people we don't know. And his mandate has not been tested in terms of the vote of the people. You give him a mileage more than established political parties in South Africa and cover him live, simply because he was former president and is a breakaway to the ANC and his vote is going to hurt the ANC. That can only be the reason. Where has this majority of Zuma been tested? We have not raised any view against that. We contest the election on the ground. We contested the election on the ground. And we are very clear that the election is not contested on paper. It's contested by talking to the people. It's not a given. And we talk to our people door to door. I was in Northwest. I came back last night. I didn't see anybody in the door-to-door asking me about Zuma. He's got his people on the ground who are doing his work, but nobody in the door-to-door asked me about Zuma. The people in state in their houses, they said, we will vote, but we've got the following things. And we're still committed to the African National Congress. And this is a fact I'm giving you. And the same as other colleagues and leaders have encountered the same. What we are dealing with here, it's a disruption. And it's a deliberate ploy, it's an agenda, it's an operation. And including the fact of buying time, because you know when you throw a dice, you can get a pop in that dice when you throw it. So they are throwing a last dice. And they hope that they'll come up with a pop that will bring the ANC down, and then they can do whatever that they want to do. That's what they're doing. And you are telling us that we must not challenge what is right and all of that. It is not possible. We will appeal this particular decision and so on. As to whether these have got a bigger impact on the election, we'll see on the 29th. But I can tell you that the ANC campaign is unstoppable as we speak. And being unstoppable, we are not deterred by anything of this sort. In fact, they are the beneficiaries themselves, because they know every time we appear in court with them on these matters, they then have got a limelight. And when they get a little win, easy victory like this, then they balloon it into higher proportions as though it is something big. There's nothing big out of this. We'll challenge it in court, to the highest court of the land, We'll argue the facts, and the facts are there. It is appealable, and then we're arguing the issue of the trademark, not the politics that the judge is talking about. Judge is not a politician. He must get out of the politics. We have given him the facts. He should have dismissed us that you don't have an authority over this MK. These things are not the same. We are not arguing MK versus ANC. We're saying MK is ours. Here is the trademark. He doesn't refer to that in the judgment. Nothing about that. Just politics. In that littered with politics and all of that. That was not our issue. So that is why when the question was posed to our lawyers, we're all perplexed. And the line of questioning, what was this? You see, because the line of questioning basically was saying something else. But given the fact that he's been temporarily suspended as a member of the ANC as we speak, from the time the NEC met and took a decision to temporarily suspend him, and basically follow the due processes that every member of the ANC does follow in such circumstances, there's been many developments after that. Developments that include the fact that now Mr. Zuma has taken a firm decision to form a party, to become its leader, and to be on the ballot in opposite to the ANC. So, which means he has now completely left and defined himself outside anything else that you can think of. He's no longer a double parking. He's now an opposite leader of the ANC. So he has left. Now, a matter that the NEC itself, when it meets, will take a decision about. And all what I'm saying to you is that, will I want to call the NEC meeting to deal with that matter specifically? Or will we leave the matters to the DC? That is the matter that we need to deal with as the party. And when the party meets from time to time, it will reflect on the issue and decide what it wants to do. But between me and you and the public, he has left. So there's no longer a matter of where do I stand? I'm a member, I'm not, I want to rescue, I don't. No, there's no longer a claim. I am, and the ANC constitution is very clear about that. You don't even need a DC for a person like that. I mean, when Terra Lekota left, the ANC did not resign. He just formed COPE, and they were gone with Sam Shiloh and them. What's the difference today between that and Zuma? You must expect that Zuma has been playing these tactics because he wants to say he was expelled, when he has expelled himself from the party. So that tactic equally works for him, and in galvanizing victim syndrome approach of Jacob Zuma, so to say, because he thrives on that. So he wants to say he was expelled. So what we will not do, we will not stop what we're doing and basically convene on Zuma, who has left the ANC. He's not a member. He's temporarily suspended, he's subjected to disciplinary processes. Whilst those processes are continuing, he has left the organization. He's now a leader, confirmed, of MK Party, that we are in court contesting its existence. And that's what has happened. So I'm not sure when we are 30 days before we vote, we will take everybody from the ground to come and talk about Zuma. I don't think a self-respecting political party will do that. When a man has left, we are on the ground with him. They opposed us this direction of him, there's this direction of the ANC. So why should we call a meeting for that? He has left the party. And like all others, it's a question of formality, of sitting down and saying, what do we do? And all of that. So that is the issue that we need to be clearer about. So he has followed the same direction that others have. When Terra Lekota left the ANC, he said he's giving us divorce papers. And even before the divorce could be settled, he was gone. And then he announced a party called Congress of the People. I think he became a leader, or somebody else became a leader. They were party two, and all others. So I don't remember a letter written to Luthuli House that we have resigned. Nothing of that sort. They left, and they are regarded to be member. that their membership have automatically lapsed. The ANC constitution is very clear in relation to that matter. I think I've answered the SAPC matter also in terms of finality on the matter of Jacob Zuma. So where we stand today from where we were 2 months or 3 months ago, it's a different ball game together. We're talking about a person who leads a party, who have established a party, and who leads it against the ANC in this election. And that is it. The question of agency and all of that will be argued in the context of the appeal and what the judge has actually said. Those matters are noted by our legal team, including the entire judgment, and then they will respond accordingly to that. But firmly, we are clearer that this judgment, there are bases to take it on, and that is what we're going to do. And politically, we have said, as I've said in Durban, that we're defending the legacy of the ANC and the liberation struggle. And that's what we're doing. So we're not going to let this go, and that is it. It's not about the party participating in the election. Jacob Zuma is already on the ballot in terms of the MK party. The issue for us has not been about him participating, has been him participating using our trademark, which is umkhonto wesizwe. That's it. That has been an issue. Now, where the judge gets it wrong is when he compares and says there will be no confusion between the ANC logo and the MK. That's not the issue. The question is, this is our trademark. It belongs to us. And that we will not allow it to be used. If you talk about umkhonto wesizwe in South Africa, even to a child, it resonates with the struggle for liberation as led by the African National Congress. And that is the point. So the question of agency and all of those will then be attended in that context of the appeal. The recordings, we don't respond to that, because when you are in a meeting and there is mischief, people recording meetings and all of that, people, when they are in a meeting, they speak their mind. And that does not become the position necessarily of the ANC. If I'm the SG, I present to the meeting. I don't present an ANC position. It's a meeting. So when people invade that space, either by members of ANC by extension, who are mischievous, undermining their party, or otherwise, others intercepting ANC meetings, which is illegal. If the ANC was going to make it its business to intercept meetings of political parties, you will be accusing us of using state resources against our opponents. I've got no doubt. If I can stand here in public and say I've got the recording of the DA, the first question you are going to ask, what business you've got to record your opponents as a political party? And you go around flouting it, writing about it, it is leaked, and all of that, and you don't even speak about its illegality. You speak about the fact that here is the recording of the ANC meeting, you celebrate it, it is leaked, we don't know by who, and then you don't speak about interception, because that was a recorded meeting of Zoom. You talk about leaked. So if you talk about leak, what is the difference between leak and interception? Because the meeting was on a digital platform. And from where I'm seated, it looks like somebody was intercepting our conversation. And this conversation is simple. We are preparing for an election. And in preparing for an election, you do what all other political parties do. You would have had a point if ever we were plotting the demise of others through illegal means in our meeting. We didn't. We mind our business. And the interpretation of what we say in that meeting and what an individual says in that particular meeting is their interpretation. It's not the resolution of the ANC up until I come here and I pronounce it as a resolution of the meeting. Because what you pronounce in the meeting, or what Mahlengi says, or what I say, it is not alpha and omega. It's not a decision of the meeting. I can be called to brief meetings like it happens all the time. I call these individuals. It's not an ANC position. Now, you are asking us about the leaked recording, which has actually been circulated. I had one political party leader says, I was listening to the ANC recording. You never took him on about it. Where did you get it? You laughed because it's not the ANC. It's fine for an opposition leader to tell you that he's got ANC recordings of another political party. The media of South Africa doesn't question that. If I can stand in this platform and say I've got the recordings of people, what they are plotting and all of that, is their business. The ANC must mind its business to win an election free and fair. We live in a democratic state. You know, in this country, we come from a period where state institutions were used, and it was alleged they are actually being used in political affairs. We come from there. And we took a stand that never again will that be allowed under our watch. Worst of all rogue elements